Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Adjust the pitches of musical instruments. My piano needs to be tuned. Adjust for better functioning. Tune the engine. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The adjustment of a radio receiver or other circuit to a required frequency. The property of producing accurately a note of a given pitch. He cannot sing in tune. Adjust the pitches of musical instruments. Adjust for better functioning. Exposed to fresh air. The mass of air surrounding the Earth. It was exposed to the air. Travel via aircraft. Air travel involves too much waiting in airports. Exposed to cool or cold air so as to cool or freshen. Air the old winter clothes. A slight wind, usually refreshing. As he waited, he could feel the air on his neck. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. She was humming an air from Beethoven. A distinctive but intangible quality surrounding a person or thing. An air of mystery. Broadcast over the airwaves, as in radio or television. We cannot air this X-rated song. Make public. She aired her opinions on welfare. Medium for radio and television broadcasting. The program was on the air from 9 till midnight. A mixture of gases, especially oxygen, required for breathing, the stuff that the wind consists of. Air pollution. Be broadcast. This show will air Saturdays at 2 p.m. Exposed to warm or heated air, so as to dry. Once thought to be one of 4 elements composing the universe, Empedocles. The region above the ground. Her hand stopped in mid-air. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the 2 firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The perception of pleasant arrangements of musical notes. An intense or violent exertion. Difficulty that causes worry or emotional tension. She endured the stresses and strains of life. Cause to be tense and uneasy or nervous or anxious. Test the limits of. Become stretched or tense or taut. The rope strained when the weight was attached. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The act of singing. Remove by passing through a filter. Separate by passing through a sieve or other straining device to separate out coarser elements. Use to the utmost. Exert vigorously or to full capacity. Don't strain your mind too much. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A new strain of microorganisms. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. He created a new strain of sheep. The general meaning or substance of an utterance. To exert much effort or energy. Straining our ears to hear. An effortful attempt to attain a goal. Rub through a strainer or process in an electric blender. Alter the shape of something by stress. Psychology, nervousness resulting from mental stress. His responsibilities were a constant strain. Injury to a muscle, often caused by overuse, results in swelling and pain. Physics, deformation of a physical body under the action of applied forces. Adapt or conform oneself to new or different conditions. We must adjust to the bad economic situation. Place in a line or arrange so as to be parallel or straight. Alter or regulate so as to achieve accuracy or conform to a standard. Decide how much is to be paid on an insurance claim. Make correspondent or conformable. An unofficial association of people or groups. The smart set goes there. Get ready for a particular purpose or event. Set up an experiment. Several exercises intended to be done in series. He did 4 sets of the incline bench press. Representation consisting of the scenery and other properties used to identify the location of a dramatic production. The sets were meticulously authentic. A relatively permanent inclination to react in a particular way. The set of his mind was obvious. Disappear beyond the horizon. The sun sets early these days. Decide upon or fix definitely. Put or set, seeds, seedlings, or plants, into the ground. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Set a record. Urge to attack someone. Set down according to a plan. A carefully laid table with places set for 4 people. Usually followed by to or for, on the point of or strongly disposed. We are set to go at any time. Converted to solid form, as concrete. Make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. Determined or decided upon as by an authority. The time set for the launching. Equip with sails or masts. Insert a nail or screw below the surface, as into a countersink. Locate. The film is set in Africa. Fixed and unmoving. With eyes set in a fixed glassy stare. Put into a certain place or abstract location. Adapt for performance in a different way. Set this poem to music. Psychology, being temporarily ready to respond in a particular way. The subject set led them to solve problems the familiar way and to overlook the simpler solution. Become gelatinous. Situated in a particular spot or position. A house set on a hilltop. Fix conclusively or authoritatively. Set the rules. Evil Egyptian god with the head of a beast that has high square ears and a long snout, brother and murderer of Osiris. Arrange attractively. Alter or regulate so as to achieve accuracy or conform to a standard. Estimate. The process of becoming hard or solid by cooling or drying or crystallization. He tested the set of the glue. Bear fruit. Set in type. My book will be typeset nicely. A group of things of the same kind that belong together and are so used. A set of books. Any electronic equipment that receives or transmits radio or TV signals. The early sets ran on storage batteries. Apply or start. Set fire to a building. A unit of play in tennis or squash. They played 2 sets of tennis after dinner. Being below the horizon. The moon is set. Fix in a border. The goldsmith set the diamond. Give a fine, sharp edge to a knife or razor. Mathematics, an abstract collection of numbers or symbols. The set of prime numbers is infinite. Put into a certain state. Cause to be in a certain state. Set the house afire. Put into a position that will restore a normal state. Set a broken bone. Set to a certain position or cause to operate correctly. Set clocks or instruments. The act of putting something in position. He gave a final set to his hat. The descent of a heavenly body below the horizon. Before the set of sun. Make right or correct. Correct in opinion or judgment. Socially right or correct. Correct behavior. Censure severely. Go down in value. The stock market corrected. Punish in order to gain control or enforce obedience. Adjust for. Engineers will work to correct the effects or air resistance. In accord with accepted standards of usage or procedure. Free from error, especially conforming to fact or truth. The correct answer. Make reparations or amends for. Alter or regulate so as to achieve accuracy or conform to a standard. Correct the alignment of the front wheels. Treat a defect. The new contact lenses will correct for his myopia. Punishment for one's actions. You have to face the music. Any agreeable, pleasing and harmonious sounds. He fell asleep to the music of the wind chimes. An artistic form of auditory communication incorporating instrumental or vocal tones in a structured and continuous manner. Musical activity, singing or whistling, etc. His music was his central interest. Music, the sounds produced by singers or musical instruments, or reproductions of such sounds. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An amount added or deducted on the basis of qualifying circumstances. The process of adapting to something, such as environmental conditions. The act of adjusting something to match a standard. Making or becoming suitable. Adjusting to circumstances. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The neighborhood had undergone few modifications since his last visit years ago. The grammatical relation that exists when a word qualifies the meaning of the phrase. Slightly modified copy. Not an exact copy. A modification of last year's model. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The act of revising or altering, involving reconsideration and modification. Set the level or character of. She pitched her speech to the teenagers in the audience. Any of various dark heavy viscid substances obtained as a residue. Abrupt up and down motion, as caused by a ship or other conveyance. The pitching and tossing was quite exciting. Promotion by means of an argument and demonstration. An all-fours game in which the first card led as a trump. A sports field with predetermined dimensions for playing soccer. Throw or hurl from the mound to the batter, as in baseball. The pitcher delivered the ball. Heel over. Be at an angle. Sell or offer for sale from place to place. Erect and fasten. Pitch a tent. Move abruptly. A high approach shot in golf. Baseball. The act of throwing a baseball by a pitcher to a batter. Degree of deviation from a horizontal plane. The roof had a steep pitch. Throw or toss with a light motion. A vendor's position, especially on the sidewalk. He was employed to see that his paper's news pitches were not trespassed upon by rival vendors. Fall or plunge forward. She pitched over the railing of the balcony. Hit, a golf ball, in a high arc with a backspin. Lead, a card, and establish the trump suit. Set to a certain pitch. He pitched his voice very low. The action or manner of throwing something. His pitch fell short and his hat landed on the floor. The property of sound that varies with variation in the frequency of vibration. Mate with. Be used by, as of a utility. A means of serving. Tableware consisting of a complete set of articles, silver or dishware, for use at table. Sports. A stroke that puts the ball in play. The act of delivering a writ or summons upon someone. He accepted service of the subpoena. Periodic maintenance on a car or machine. The act of public worship following prescribed rules. The Sunday service. The act of mating by male animals. A force that is a branch of the armed forces. Canadian writer, born in England, who wrote about life in the Yukon Territory, 1874 to 1958. A company or agency that performs a public service, subject to government regulation. An act of help or assistance. He did them a service. Employment in or work for another. He retired after 30 years of service. Law. The acts performed by an English feudal tenant for the benefit of his lord which formed the consideration for the property granted to him. Make fit for use. Service my truck. The performance of duties by a waiter or servant. That restaurant has excellent service. Work done by one person or group that benefits another. Budget separately for goods and services. Make fine adjustments or divide into marked intervals for optimal measuring. Adjust finely. Fine-tune the engine. Improve or perfect by pruning or polishing. Adjust finely. A squeeze with the fingers. Pull or pull out sharply. Pinch or squeeze sharply. Regulate, a radio or television set, in order to receive a certain station or program. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The theme is announced in the first measures. An essay, especially one written as an assignment. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. His letters were always on the theme of love. A unifying idea that is a recurrent element in literary or artistic work. It was the usual boy gets girl theme. Provide with a particular theme or motive. The restaurant often themes its menus. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. A melody that recurs and comes to represent a musical play or movie. Music, a short lively tune played on brass instruments. The sound made by the vibration of vocal folds modified by the resonance of the vocal tract. A singer takes good care of his voice. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. An advocate who represents someone else's policy or purpose. Expressing in coherent verbal form. I gave voice to my feelings. Utter with vibrating vocal cords. A means or agency by which something is expressed or communicated. The voice of the law. A sound suggestive of a vocal utterance. The noisy voice of the waterfall. Give voice to. He voiced his concern. Linguistics. The grammatical relation, active or passive, of the grammatical subject of a verb to the action that the verb denotes. Metonymy, a singer. He wanted to hear trained voices sing it. Something suggestive of speech in being a medium of expression. The wee small voice of conscience. The ability to speak. He lost his voice. The distinctive quality or pitch or condition of a person's speech. A shrill voice sounded behind us. A distinguishing style. The sharps or flats that follow the clef and indicate the key. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. A sheet with several pages printed on it. It folds to page size and is bound with other signatures to form a book. Your name written in your own handwriting. Music, a short lively tune played on brass instruments. Her arrival was greeted with a rousing fanfare. A gaudy outward display. Music, a short lively tune played on brass instruments. He entered to a flourish of trumpets. Make steady progress. Be at the high point in one's career or reach a high point in historical significance or importance. Move or swing back and forth. The act of waving. Grow vigorously. A display of ornamental speech or language. An ornamental embellishment in writing. A showy gesture. She entered with a great flourish. A rapid series of ascending or descending notes on the musical scale. Musical direction, in the manner of a glissando, with a rapidly executed series of notes. This should be played glissando, please. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The accompanist picked up the idea and elaborated it. An approximate calculation of quantity or degree or worth. A rough idea how long it would take. The content of cognition, the main thing you are thinking about. It was not a good idea. Your intention. What you intend to do. The idea of the game is to capture all the pieces. A personal view. He has an idea that we don't like him. A melodic phrase that accompanies the reappearance of a person or situation, as in Wagner's operas.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.